Hello and welcome back to Advanced Horang Lessons. Today's lesson, we gotta cover a string that's been on Horang for years. I say years because this is called Firestorm Left, and this is Firestorm Right. That's the full string for both left Flamingo and right Flamingo. And you can also just do the first hit by itself for both strings in left and right. And then you can even delay it fully. Like, look how long you can delay that. But are there caveats to delaying it? And is this +4 really usable? Is this +3 usable? Well, you're about to find out. Maybe in just a bit. Rolls intro. So, both the frame data for, again, both these strings, Firestorm Left, which is LFS F+4, and RFS F+3, Firestorm Right, they share the same frame data. So, they share the same frame data, but the stance they end up in is completely different. Firestorm Left or Left Flamingo F+4 will put you in RFF, and Right Flamingo /3 will leave you in LFF. Same thing when you do the string, LFS F+3, you will end up in RFF, and if you do RFS /3/4, you will end up in LFF. So basically, if you go left, you're gonna end up in right, and if you go right, you're gonna end up in left. Thank you, Doc Hudson. So yes, again, this move, Firestorm, whether it be left or right, is +4 on hit. Comes out 16 frames, one of your mids that come out at 16 frames, because the other mid comes out at 16, that's the chop. So basically, it's your other 16 frame mid that comes out at 16. How many times can you say 16? And continue with the lesson. It's +4 on hit, and is -7 on block. There's nothing on counter hit for this, just aside from like increased damage. It's like, wow, it's a huge chunk. We go from 17, and that's +3. That's it, +4. Same dice. So the +4 is what we really gotta look here, right? This +4 over here. How do we know if we can really use this? Well, you just change the opponent's second action to backdash, right? We change it to backdash. Then after changing it to backdash, we want to see if we can lock with a mid. Very, very important for Horang after pressing a move. Can I, like, follow up? So if I press LFS4 and then DF1+2. Oh. Okay, DF1+2 didn't work. So let's try something else, a different mid. How about DF1? Alright. So we essentially just can't use our 13 frame mids. Can't use them at all. Alright, so there's definitely a workaround, right? What's our workaround? Maybe do highs. Because, you know, you end up in RFF. Okay. You can't. How about the 2/4 string? The second hit also whiffs. Alright, so that means you're gonna have to end up on the third hit to, like, get a hit. Alright, you can't really risk that, because by that point, you already got it and hit. Or you lost positioning and so on. So, you know, so on and so forth. So if not that, maybe we go low, right? Down 3/4? Oh, you can't down 3/4. Alright. So what do you do? Well, you can still do a low. I recommend down back 4. So you're +4, you do the math, 16 -4, you end up with a 12 frame low. That will catch backdash. Great. What also catches backdash? A 20 frame mid from RFF. Again, this is if you're doing Firestorm Left. So you again do the math again, that's gonna come out at 16 frame. That's gonna be a 16 frame mid. The other thing you can do would be JFSR catch, and if your JFSR comes out the fastest, which is again 18 frames, you minus that by 4, you'll have a 14 frame launcher. Another thing you can do is hit backlash. No, it's not backlash. Unfortunately, it's not backlash. It is your running moves. Obviously, you're running 3, you're running 4, and interestingly, you're instant while standing 3, and instant while standing 4/4. Of course, so some of those options are, you know, shared with the Firestorm Right, except DF4 is now something you can use if you did it from RFS /3. I think that's the only difference for the most part. So it's like, how do these moves fare in terms of, like, sidestepping, right? If the opponent decides to step these options. Well, they do fine. Down back 4 will catch. That was sidestep left. How about sidestep right? You're okay. If I change that to Firestorm, the other one, the right version, it's okay. Like, reliably, the slow will track. Okay, so how about mids. Of course, the homing mids, I don't need to showcase that. They're gonna... Obviously, they're homing, right? But what about the other ones? Let's say we're on sidestep left right now. If we do an instant wall standing 3, great. If we do instant wall standing 4-4, fantastic. Because like it doesn't even have to like compete with the backdash anymore, since they're still in front of your face. If you've noticed here, how about running 3? That's when that loses. If you go immediately right after it. So if you change up your timing on it, then, you know, you'll get closer. That one, I'm closer compared to the first time I did it. You realign that, or like delay your timing so that you're realigned, then perfect. You're gonna connect at that point. And if they're opting to just step already by that point, you know, strings like that, RFF 2-3, RFF 2-4, the second hit will finally start working for you. And if you do it off RFS, you know, 1-2, it's even like way closer. If they're just SSing, if they're sidestepping or sidewalking. But the safest option for the opponent in this scenario would be backdashing. So again, it's all listed on the screen. The options that I highly recommend that you use when you get the +4 on LFS forward 4 and RFS forward 3 in Tekken 7. Now, another thing about this in the backdash situation is that it is short. It is a short string. What do you mean by like it's a short string? Because if I do something like RFF 4 into RFS 1, it catches. The opponent's backdash cannot beat that, even against like really good backdashes. But if I do RFS forward 3, it has a tendency to lose, even most especially as like the farther and farther the move hits, the move that transitions to Flamingo, while the chop RFS 1, from what I remember, okay, there are certain distances that RFS 1 will connect more often than not compared to RFS forward 3. So that was like not necessarily max range, but that's like a pixel away. Like the moment you go into real max range over here, that's when the chop will lose. Trying to replicate it here. There you go. The chop will lose. And of course, RFS forward 3 would lose as well. But if you're a little bit closer and it's not even fully max, the chop is far more reliable than RFS forward 3 or even LFS F+4 in situations like that. But it's more common for, what do you call this, the RFS forward 3, because they're very connected to the 50-50 like that. That's like, how do you cover for the axe kick when it's losing to backdash? Because this is pretty much catching the backdash all the time. The one that's when it starts losing. And I don't think after LFS forward 3, yeah, the distance is too far for that to catch up. It's when you do something like this on 3 forward. But it's the situations are a lot more different in left compared to right. It's more common on right. So that's a little bit caveat of like this mid. Let's go to the follow-ups. So the follow-ups is Firestorm left and Firestorm right, or LFS F+3 and RFS 3-4. Again, left will put you in right, right will put you in left. And comes out 16 frames naturally because the first hit comes out at 16. And if it does connect naturally, you get a lot of damage. That's 63. That was natural. But this move is not a natural combo. It's not. But it is +3 on block. But it also just does not jail. So if the opponent gets hit, they can still duck. But you can delay it to really make them think about it. But another thing is like, even if you delay it, it's still steppable. Of course, on hit, they're not really stepping this. Although if I can get it to replicate right now, there is a window where the opponent can step on hit. I was getting it a couple of times in the lab earlier. There you go. That one specifically. So that can happen on hit. It's definitely going to be more common on block. Whether you delayed the string or didn't delay the string. So yeah, NCC doesn't jail and can get stepped even on hit. But the damage is crazy when you get it to connect. That's 66. Obviously, on natural is like -3 points, right? But that's the amount of damage you should be getting on the string. Or even a little bit less if only the second hit was the one to connect. But that's still a good chunk. 51. That's like a small combo. Now, the +3. Let's say the opponent didn't step on block. What can you do with this +3? So, of course, you gotta make sure only the second hit hits, right? You can DF1 +2. Great. That's always the first question we always ask. Can we throw lock with a mid? Yes, we can. We can lock with a mid. And you can not do the same for DF1. Again, links in the description for the differences between DF1 and DF1 +2. But at least if you do the left version of Firestorm, you're okay. You can build off DF1 +2. Can you? Okay, hold up. Yeah, bring in the steps. Which side are you stepping at +3? Of course, again, you need only the second hit to connect. Okay, so they're stepping towards the left. It's completely free. But if they step towards the right, I see. You're gonna have a hard time working with this move. So it's like, okay, is that when DF1 comes into play? No. Does it catch sidestep left? You're about to find out. No, it doesn't. So while you have a mid that's gonna track over, catch the backdash, your step, it's gonna be a little bit difficult to catch with the mids. But you're +3, right? So since you're +3, that gives you more safety to throw out a homing move. Even if the homing move here is gonna come out at 20 frames, that's a 17 frame homing move. And a 24 frame homing move. So if you don't want to use those two things, your highs come into play since the distance between you and your opponent isn't that far. You can just lock them in with a 2-4. And of course, as I'd always love to recommend, if I get the second hit to connect first, down back 4. So that'll catch the steps, and at least you can keep them honest with the DF1 +2. And probably add some RFF D4. It's very similar to what do you call this? The while standing 4-4 situation on hit. It's just that instead of it being +4 force crouch, it's +3 standing. So that's for the left version of Firestorm, right? What about if you do the right version of the full string, right? If I do the full string of Firestorm right, which is again RFS forward 3-4, can I do? Oh, I can. They are not made the same. So what you have to know about Firestorm right is that if you do the full string here, you cannot lock them in at all. The distance on block is far more increased compared to the distance on left. Now, whether that's influenced because Hwoarang's going into RFF or not, maybe that's the reasoning behind it. I just personally feel like it could still hit. It just kind of makes sense. And it also makes sense like in terms of like the amount of distance there. So maybe it is because he's going to RFF. So that's a +3 that, well, it's going to be harder to use. You got to go to the hoops. Again, down back 4. It's going to become a 16, -3, 13 frame low to catch your opponent in that scenario. Or not. You can't even do that. You can't even DF4 everything. Does everything get backdashed? Even a JFSR? Yeah, yes, even a JFSR. Essentially, you have a mind game to work with, and you have frames to protect you. So if, if they press the button, right? If for some reason they decided to press a button, that isn't your problem. That is their problem. So if you block the full thing and I try to press, I should press something higher, right? Because again, it's +3. There. Now I pressed the DF1. Now again, 15 -3, 12, right? That is gonna go in. So if they make that mistake, that's on them. But for the most part, you have frames to cover you if they make that mistake. If they don't, well, they're just gonna be backdashing away, and then that's when you, as Tekken 8 would like to call it, use shark step. You can use movement to your advantage. Since you're in left, of course you can't stutter step with the right foot forward, but you certainly can move left and right in LFF. I mean, the choice is yours. See how it works best for you, depending on how your opponent reacts in match. So yeah, let's cover optimal enders. I did mention it earlier. The F+3 cheap shot after any Firestorm left or Firestorm right full string is the max. If you do it with Rage, however, so again counter hit because it's NCC, you can pick up with the Rage drive and end on CD3 and you end up with 94 damage. That's very, very strong. Now, if you decide to, not do CD3, you want to end it on something else. Let's say you want to end it on the next best ender, which if I remember correctly is LFS F+3. So you cancel out here, hit it. That's 92 damage. You're 2 points away from the max here. It's still pretty high though. And this also works in like that. Like again, it picked up, right? So it's like, does that work in other stages? Yes, it does. Like if I go to Forgotten Realm, I can easily, or Horan can easily break the floor if the opponent pressed in between Firestorm. It's just like, that's the price you gotta pay. It's gonna be a ton of damage. So let's say you got it raw, right? It wasn't off anything. Like let's just say you randomly got it in neutral. You can break the floor and you can still like get a full combo. Now obviously that combo was poor. Let me make this connect. There you go. So you can get something like that. That's pretty good when Firestorm connects. And it's not just that. You could also get it at, let's say, a balcony break. So if I go head over to Twilight Conflict, and if Firestorm connects, it doesn't even have to be a wall splat. That's the thing. The Rage Drive will hit right at the wall, and then you're allowed to break the balcony. He's like, for real? Yeah, you gotta see it to believe it. So I stand and approach and we just reset the balcony break. I'm just gonna take like maybe 3 jumps. Key charge, go for it. Woo! 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 Yeah, that's 12. So that's 120 damage? The math will be on the screen. But wow, that's crazy. And if you get it at the wall, let's say raw, like your opponent was really just trigger happy and you got a Firestorm there. So if we go without Rage, the damage you get on average for it is pretty high. That's 80 damage. And of course, the combo is more or less the same whether you end it on left or right. It's just that if you end it on left, again, you're an RFF. So you get options like backlash into back 3, or the option to backlash into Rage Drive. Oh, Rage Drive. And that should do really good damage. If I can even Rage Drive. Speaking of which, 102. Of course, we try to compare that with a regular one. Let's say we do Firestorm right. We do forward 2 into Rage Drive. Yeah, night and day in terms of damage. 102 versus 90. Even if I change that to, let's say, SS3. So I wait. Oh, wait, I don't wait. What I'm supposed to do is resplat. When you're trying to get so much damage, you rush the combo. Oh, there you go. I got it. All right, well, that's still pretty far. But it is, like, really, really strong. And that's just, like, on raw splats. Of course, you can also use this move as, like, short wall carry. It is very involved with a bunch of B&Bs. Let's say the JFSR, Backlash B&B. Say you do Backlash, right? FF4. Like, that's short wall carry. If I just move a little bit closer and then do it, maybe one dash in. Like Firestorm left and Firestorm right work well as short wall carries. That's just one of it. You can also do it like off RFF 4-4, RFF 2-4-4, RFF counter hit back 4. Like for those combos, that's already like max simplified. easy B&B damage that's very, very reliable. That's really easy to get instead of going for something like RFS forward 3 or like dash up 3. Like that's just damage. And then you can get the wall on top of it. Then if you're like really, really close, let's say somewhere around here, you can still do a firestorm and get a good splat for extra damage. It's like, what am I supposed to do here? I'm so close. Oh yeah, you could just like F4 firestorm right, and then great damage. So it's just, it has a good amount of like combo utility, and that's just the enders. I'm not even talking about like the regular move itself. LFS F4 or RFS forward 3, like the B&B combo for up 3 involves LFS F4, just like that. And then you can also still end it on another one if you're close enough, or it doesn't work. No, it doesn't work. But I still had time to squeeze that in. But for the most part, you can use it to like stabilize combos. In certain combos. For some, it's just like it doesn't make sense. Like you could, at that point, you're just flexing your combo knowledge, right? But for some combos, they're just like really, really reliable, and you can use it for short wall carry and as combo enders as well, because they just deliver a ton of damage. The full string does. So for the most part, LFS F4 and RFS forward 3, they're decent mid checks in left Flamingo and right Flamingo respectively, with a slight mix. Like you can delay this fully, and if the opponent bites on it, you know, they're in for a world of pain. However, again, the string is only NCC on the full, but the moment you delay it a bit, it's no longer, I don't know, that's like on my wish list that maybe they could have patched out, but they never did. The move is completely gone in Tekken 8. So you can only use it now in 7, well, in the last 4 months of Tekken 7 by the time of this recording. And yeah, like, you know, very good combo utility. And whether you wanted to like get access to right Flamingo or left Flamingo and you didn't want to do the chop, you just wanted to change it up, show a different animation to your opponent, because you've been showing them the chop over and over again, whether that be from right or whether that be from left. Because maybe they don't know that it's actually -7, or they weren't prepared for this +4 scenario, or they didn't duck here, and you can use this +3 to a certain extent. So it's something you can use for the most part. It's not really overtaking the chops forward to RFS 1, LFS 2 just yet, and probably won't be anytime soon. But it is another mid. The Firestorm string. Very, very legacy string that's been in this game for quite some time. That's everything I know about it. If you know something else, feel free to put it in the comments of this video. And that has been the lesson for today. That has been the cheese. I've been Frontier, and I'll see you in the next advanced Hwoarang lesson on the other side of the screen. Take care.